Hey guys, did you know that you could actually grab your life insurance policy that you already own, that you pay for every single month, and actually sell it? Well, today we're going to be going over exactly how you can go about turning your life insurance policy into a massive windfall for yourself. Let's jump right in, guys. All right, guys, so let's assume for a second you've had a life insurance policy for maybe 15, 20 years, right? And you've been paying into this thing maybe $200 a month for the last 15 years. So you've made a total of 180 payments of $200, right? And let's say that the life insurance policy that you bought was, call it, for $500,000. Well, you see, you probably bought the policy thinking, hey, God forbid the day were to ever happen that I pass away, at least my spouse, at least my children, they inherit the $500,000. But let's just say that now your kids, they're adults now, right? Your kids are now 23 years old, 25 years old. Now you don't really see the need of having life insurance so much because now your kids are adults, right? You were concerned about them when they were maybe 3 years old or 5 years old, something were to ever happen to you. You want to make sure that they are going to be taken care of and everything was going to be fine. But now the reality is your kids are 25, they're 30 years old. Maybe now life insurance is not something that you really need. And let's say worst case scenario, because I've actually seen this happen, unfortunately, with some families where now the spouse has passed away prematurely. So let's say that, you are now 71 years old, 72 years old. Your spouse already passed away. Your kids are adults. Now you begin to think, what's the need of life insurance? Why should I have life insurance? I'm not married anymore. My spouse passed away. My kids are adults and all these different things. So now you have the option of doing something called a life settlement. A life settlement, what it is, it's the process of grabbing your life insurance policy, your $500,000 life insurance policy, and actually selling it and making a ton of money off of it. So I'm going to give you the breakdown on how you could actually go about doing this. All right, so as I mentioned in the example, you've been paying $200 a month for the last 180 months. You've paid a total of $36,000 in premium payments. But again, you don't need the life insurance anymore. Your kids are already adults. Your spouse is maybe not around, or maybe you're not married at all. So you begin to think, how can I actually turn my life insurance policy into money? So a lot of people don't know this, but there are actually companies that are investors that they're willing to pay you money to take over your life insurance policy. So what does that mean? That means that they might give you $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 for actually taking ownership of the life insurance policy. So right now, your life insurance policy, more than likely, you have some sort of family member as a beneficiary on your life insurance policy, whether it's your spouse or your children or your grandchildren. You more than likely have a family member or a friend. But you see, what happens is that when an investor comes in, they will actually give you maybe $50,000 or $100,000 to actually take the ownership away from you. So now they will actually own the policy, but they will give you an upfront $50,000 check or $100,000 check. But now this is what happens. They will actually remove the beneficiary off of the policy and it will not be your family member anymore. That means that the day that you pass away, that new investor will actually get all of the $500,000. So yes, they are now giving you probably 50 grand up front. And then on top of that, they have to continue to make the monthly payments on that policy for the rest of your life. So as long as you're living, they have to continue to make that payment. But again, you get to receive right now maybe $50,000 or $100,000 all in one shot. Now, you have to remember one important thing. You see, these investors are not dumb, right? First of all, they're not going to want to do this with a 45-year-old, right? A 45-year-old is 40 years away from them passing away. So an investor is not going to come in and give you $100,000 because you're 45 years old, right? They're going to give that money to maybe a person that's 75 years old, somebody that's 80, 85. Why? Because they're closer to, unfortunately, passing away. So an investor is going to come in and they will give those types of payments, or they'll buy those policies from usually older people. So number one, you usually have to be a little bit older. And number two, that individual needs to normally be unhealthy. Why? Because the investor wants to figure out how long you're going to live. So we actually had a client of ours that unfortunately she was diagnosed with cancer. She had no kids, she had no husband, she wasn't married, nothing. So what she actually ended up doing is she sold her life insurance policy that was a $500,000 life insurance policy. She sold it for $225,000. So she got a $225,000 check that she could enjoy while she's still alive. Now, the new investor had to take over the monthly payments, and then the day that she's not around, the investor will get the $500,000. But again, you want to make sure you speak to what's called a life settlement broker, because that life settlement broker, their job is to actually connect you with the investor if you actually want to sell your life insurance policy.
Retirement ready is our motto. So make sure you share, comment, subscribe, like the videos, hit the notification bells, whatever you need to do, but make sure you're following so every day you can receive educational content and make better decisions with your money.